All right, welcome back to Bookshelf Tour. Um, and as I said in my last video, by going by numbers, I've got a bit of a back thing going, so we'll do this, and you'll have to excuse some of the a few grimaces along the way. I figured I might as well just continue doing stuff, even if I'm in a little bit of pain. This bookshelf is kind of an aspirational bookshelf. I don't know. It's one of these bookshelves that is a testament to, as readers, we read an author and we go, oh, wow, I love this guy's work. And you start accumulating his books and accumulating his books and accumulating his books. But you neglect to do that thing that you're supposed to actually do, which is read the damn books and, find out if beyond that initial work that you actually want to you actually do want to read more of the thing, or if you just accumulate, if you just done accumulation. Sadly for me, that for me is Gene Wolfe, and I have read here. Let's eliminate the books that I've actually read. His the first three books in his New Sun trilogy. Well, actually, I guess the New Sun trilogy I actually have read, which are The Shadow of the, oh, let's do it in the right order. Shadow of the Torturer, The Claw of the Conciliator, and The Sword of the Lictor, which ostensibly, no spoilers, opens in a fantasy world where we are follow this very kind of close first person. I think it, God, now I'm hoping first person narrative of I wondered if Roche were much more experienced at such pleasures than I was myself. It seemed unlikely. In the hope of discovering whether he had visited our destination before, I asked where the echopraxia lay. So it's all done in a very close first person of Severus, who is a torturer, a professional torturer, and he is going out in this world and exploring things. And it seems very much, and you take a look at all the covers, as very much a fantasy world. Spoilers to anybody out there who's not experienced Gene Wolfe or this series. It's a fairly old series right now. The Shadow of the Torturer was it's copyright 1980, which strangely enough makes it Geesley old, though that doesn't seem Geesley old to me. It's not a fantasy world. He is actually on. He is not. He is. It's actually in the future, but civilization has fallen back. Civilization has relocated, and you have to kind of watch. The great one of the great geniuses of Gene Wolfe is that he doesn't come out and tell the reader that. He just presents what Severus sees, and Severus is a very good noticer, as oftentimes you want in a first person, I guess, unreliable narrator, a first person narration. So it's like someone who's like in this kind of what's kind of quasi medieval society, but how they would interpret vestiges of what are a very advanced civilization, and stuff that's happened in our present is is looking at it as ancient relics of a far gone past kind of thing. Wolfe is a really good prose stylist. He is someone who I think what makes him rather maybe the acquired taste and maybe not as hugely popular as people like J.R. Tolkien and the like is that he really does make the reader work. He in the sense of like that very conceit of Severus not knowing that he's in the not telling us that we're in the future, not telling the reader that you're in the future. You have to work this stuff out for yourself, and a lot of it seems like in a lot of his works, some of the novellas I actually have read, it's definitely left up to the reader to do the work, to have to meet it halfway, which does eliminate a lot of it's eliminated me in a lot of ways from reading a lot of his work so far. It's one of these things of like, oh, if I'm going to read one of his book works, I'm going to have to work at it, which is sad to say because I've read lots of other authors that you have to put the work in and you get the rewards. Why I wouldn't do that with Gene Wolfe? I guess maybe it's because it's in the science fiction fantasy realm, that there's more of an expectation that this is going to be kind of light entertainment, where it definitely isn't. And Severus is not a likable character. He does a lot of despicable things other than being a torturer. I think his treatment of women is also pretty despicable. So it's like, it's tough but rewarding work. So that said, I read those and I must have enjoyed them. I must have, it's been a while. So I then went and picked up the kind of the answer the next thing in the series, which is the Book of the Long Sun, which is starting with Nightside the Long Sun, Nightside the Long Sun, Lake of the Long Sun, Calde of the Long Sun, Airship, and Exodus from the Long Sun, which is sort of it's within the same universe as the Book of the Long Sun, the Book of the so. There's that series. Oh, and what have I got? I've also got this, which is the Earthic of the new sun, which is what does it say about this? Does it actually give me anything about it? The Book of the New Sun, Gene Wolfe's 4-volume work, has attained classic status. It is the most single acclaimed event in contemporary SF. Upon its completion, the Chicago Sun-Times said, Gene Wolfe is as good a writer there is today. I feel a little bit like a musical contemporary attempting to tell people what's good about Mozart, which kind of gives you an idea of exactly how high of a regard people, hold Gene Wolfe. An extraordinary work of art. Wolfe's language is purely wonderful. He sustains a tone I have seldom encountered in this genre. Dolorous, sophisticated, menacing, suffused with a slow awe and joy. Wolfe orchestrates his music with narrative force and moral intent, said the Philadelphia Inquirer. Now, does it actually tell you? And now Wolfe has produced a sequel to the Book of the New Sun, perhaps the most eagerly awaited event since the Silmarillion. Another J.R.R. Tolkien thing. The Earth of the New Sun is a single book comparable only to the finest works of all time in SF and in contemporary American literature. Okay. We return to the world of Severin, now the Autok of Earth, as he leaves the planet on one of the huge spaceships of the alien hero. Okay, I'm not going to read more because I'll probably spoil myself because I haven't read it. God damn it. So yes, there is that. Now, the other place that I actually have done some Gene Wolfe, not in this itself, is the Island of Dr. Death and Other Stories, which really gets you kind of distilled bits of Gene Wolfe, especially in kind of novella form. The Island of Dr. Death and Other Stories, Alien Stones, La Bempha, The Hero is Werewolf, Three Fingers, The Death of Dr. Island, Feather Tigers, Hour of Trust, Tracking Song, Toy Theater, The Doctor of Death Island, Cues, Eye Flash Miracles, 7 American Nights, Worlds Beyond Worlds, Worlds Within Worlds, magical, mystical, and mysterious, born of the imagination of one of the greatest storytellers of all time, Gene Wolfe. Dr. Death. So yeah, I've got a lot of his kind of just sort of, I collected a lot of his just books as Endangered Species, which I think is just a single author collection. Castle View, Devil in a Forest, Peace, Soldier of Arate, Soldier of the Mist, Citadel of the Arctic, which is another one of the is the volume 4 in the New Sun quadrilogy versus the trilogy that I called it. The Fifth Head of Cerebus. Yes. So yeah, that is my very sizable and very unread Gene Wolfe collection, which is, I guess it's one of these traps as a as a reader, as a enthusiast of books that you get into. It's like I obviously just had Gene Wolfe on my must buy, must find all his books kind of list. However, I didn't put him on my actual, hey, make space to read him. I mean, I think if I have an author that I should say that I should like say, okay, let's just sort of set myself a little goal there. Let's read a Gene Wolfe novel like every other month, or like one Gene Wolfe, like one Gene Wolfe, a couple of Gene Wolfe novels a year. That would be like not a bad thing. At the very least to kind of decide, come back to this author and decide, oh, do I still want to read them? Because if I don't, well, then I can pass these books on to somebody who actually does want to read them, or yeah, yeah, or go, oh my God, I've missed out all this time. Gene Wolfe died at the age of like it's 81 or 87 in 1919, 2019. You know, he's passed. The physical author has passed. It's a good time to actually go back and see whether the works kind of stand up. Now, and actually, one thing I have to say about Gene Wolfe was never the media darling. There's some authors who just by the force of their personality keep themselves in the public eye. He was never that kind of guy. He was always the kind of guy who was just like kind of the old-fashioned, what to me seems like an old-fashioned author of, I'm just going to let my work speak for itself. And I mean, he came before the internet age where you pity poor authors today who do have to be their own brand managers, their own PR, who have to have a social media presence and give sparkling interviews, which I find all